Welcome back to Fiercely Unfiltered. I'm your host, Kelly Renee. And today I want to talk about running a business with your spouse, working with your family, and if that's a good idea or if it's not a good idea. I looked up a few things and it says that 87% of all small businesses are made up of some kind of family connection, cousins, spouses, relatives. Only 13% don't have any family ties, which is kind of crazy to me. But out of the 87%, only 10% of those are spouse businesses. And out of that 10%, 1.4 million are spouse-run businesses with employees. And I also looked up divorce rates, including spouses who run businesses. And it says like the annual divorce rate is 10 to 15%. That's 10 to 15% of marriages end in an annual year. And it's 40 to 50% divorce rates just as a lifetime. But spouses who run businesses, it jumps up to 43 to 48%. And once you add employees and family members into that, it even jumps higher than that. So I would say if you're going to run a business together, don't have employees. I ran a real estate company with my husband or my ex-husband. And it was great when it was the two of us going on listing appointments, out to dinners. It was fun. But then once you start adding a team and stuff, you're more managing people and other people's problems, which brings more stress. But still, it worked out fine in real estate. Once we started a company and then we needed more people, we brought family members in from both sides of our families. And then we started getting employees. I think we went up to 100 employees. And to have that many employees, and I was the COO and he was the CEO. So there's definitely different roles, vision, and then executioner, which is me. But you have different roles and you really need to keep those roles separated and understand what they are, or they overlap and conflict happens. You can't have a CEO with vision and then be a micromanager and tell you what to do, but not only what to do, but how to do it. And it's like you're in that position for a reason, and those are your strengths. So you want to do what you know you need to do. And you're being judged on KPIs and stuff like that. You're not being judged on whether your husband's happy with you or not. So it starts to get a little tricky when you can make one of your top priorities is making your husband happy, you're good. But once you start running a company and the profitability and the company's success is more important than your husband's happiness, that's when you really got to pick what's more important to me, my business and my success or someone's ego every day. So that's where, we already had problems in our marriage, but once you have employees and employees have their own agendas, people start to play the mommy daddy roles. Like I don't give them the answer they want, so they go to him. And if he gives them a different answer, he outranks me. So they just get to go around like I just told someone no an hour ago and I'm their boss, but they go over my head to my boss and he gives them a different answer. So they just walk around like, oh, he told me I could do it. I don't care if you told me I couldn't, which makes my leadership a little weaker because people understand that if they don't agree with what I'm saying, they can just go talk to my boss and get him to overrule it, which isn't the way you need to run a business. You need to be on the same page. But when personal feelings and stuff are greater than the mission, stuff gets muddy. And we had family members from both sides. That also gets messy too, because they feel more entitled than regular employees. And it's hard to run a successful business with favoritism and where people aren't being treated the same. So that's a sticky thing too, when he has side of his family and I have side of my family and I'm following the rules with my side and he's not with his side. It just brings family dynamics at a really bad point too. I'm someone who always feels like if you and your spouse can work together, who's a better team member or want your success more than each other? So I'm a big advocate for working with your spouse. But if you guys don't have a foundation of complete trust, then I don't think it's a great idea because it's not worth losing everything to try something. They say that 69% of businesses last for 2 years. And then once you get up to 5 years, only 51% last. So I'm not sure if in my next relationship or if I have a next relationship, I'm not sure I'll mix the two. I rather if something doesn't work out, because in life, marriages over a lifetime, you have 4 out of 10 people get divorced. So it's not great odds. And you never really understand what the other person is feeling or thinking too. So it's hard. But for me, I loved working with my spouse. I thought it was the best thing. I used to always say if I was married to someone I didn't work with, I would never see him. I was a workaholic. We worked 18 hours a day. We worked holidays. I mean, that's what we did. So I was fine with it. But to be in a marriage with someone when you're a workaholic and they're not, and you don't work together, I'm not sure of that dynamic. I mean, maybe that's how marriages last, because the annual rate's only 10 to 15% for people who don't work with each other. So maybe that's the secret to life, is keep personal and business separate. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. I'm someone who's all in 100%. And if I'm with someone, I want to help them with what they're doing. I want them to help me with what I'm doing. But I'm going to try really hard to get myself set up with my own foundation. So if I do meet someone, that's not something I lean towards, or that's not something I'm going to do again. So I learned the hard way. I thought I protected myself as much as I could. I had my stuff separated, my interests separated from him. It wasn't as a married couple, it was as individuals. But even when you think you're protecting yourself, when you have family and spouses involved, it gets really sloppy. I would never go into anything without either a prenup or like a work prenup, something that says if we're not getting along, if something doesn't work out, and it's because of him, maybe there's different consequences than if the reason is because of me. I'm not sure, but life changes. People feel different. So it's hard to put decades of your life into something and then have to walk away because a relationship isn't working. That's not a good feeling. And it's something I never want to have to go through again. If I'm going to lose something in my personal life, I don't want everything in my life to be tied to that. So then I'm going to be starting from scratch again. That's something I never want to do again. But that is my journey. And it obviously was for a reason. I don't know that reason yet, but I do know I wasn't on the right path. And God normally ruins something or stops it because he understands there's more pain coming in that relationship. And he thinks you dealt with enough pain. I'm sitting here a little over a year since my business was shut down. And I'm actually was devastated when it got shut down. It was over a decade of my work. But I think it needed to be shut down for my relationship to really have closure and be dead in my mind. I think everything we did create together had to die along with it. It couldn't carry on without the both of us. And so it was meant to close, and that's what happened. I would have never wished that on myself, any of our investors or anything like that. But we'll see what comes out of this and why that had to happen. But if you are thinking about getting in business with your significant other, really sit down and think about if that adventure is worth it. And they say adventures where it's just the two of you in a business, like real estate, coaching, photography, stuff like that, it's easy because it's just the two of you and you guys are doing all the work and you can divide the roles and really understand. But once you start getting people involved and once you start getting family involved, it's really messy and you're just stacking chips against your marriage. And marriage is hard anyways. So I would enjoy it and not try and make your whole life a part of your relationship. Have different things. Like I have my relationship, I have my career, I have my friends, I have my hobbies, and have everything where it's not so intertwined, where you're so codependent on one relationship. And if that doesn't work out, your whole world falls apart. Because that's a really dark hole to be in when you know that if you lose one thing, everything goes with it. It's just a really hard loss to get over. And I've been grieving for a while, all the losses that came to me at once. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm smile every day. I'm happy. Like I say all the time, I don't cry as much as I used to. I still do, but not as much. So really think about it before you make the decision, guys. Until next time.